welcome to the Resources Roadhouse. I'm Wally Graham, and today I am joined by Allan Kelly, Executive Chairman of Miramar Resources. So, Allan, as always at Miramar, very busy and out everywhere across your project portfolio. Concentrating at the moment at Whaleshark, where you're doing some EIS-funded drilling. Can you tell us about that, please?
Yeah, so our main focus at the moment is on our Whaleshark project, which is up near Onslow in the Ashburton region of WA. It's a large iron oxide copper gold target, or IOCG target. So it's similar to things like Prominent Hill or Carrapateena or Ernest Henry, or even if we're really lucky, an Olympic Dam. But over the last couple of years, we've done geochem, and then we did some shallow air core drilling last year, which defined a really nice IOCG bedrock target. And we put in an application for co-funded drilling under the WA government EIS program. And we were successful in getting funding assistance for 2 diamond holes there. And so that's the current focus at the moment, is to basically get out on the ground in June or July and get those diamond holes done. So before we do that, we've got a little heritage survey to do to clear the drill sites, and then hopefully we should be out there, June or July.
All right. So there's a chance that when we get to the Gold Coast conference in a couple of weeks, you might already be out on the ground doing that.
Hopefully, it really depends on when we get the heritage survey done, but it's probably more likely to be a little bit after that, and maybe into early July. Our projects up north are the ones that we tend to work on in the middle of the year when it's a bit cooler. And so that's why we sort of haven't done much work there up till now this year. But get the heritage survey done. We've already been out on the ground just doing some rehab and site access. And then the next thing will be get the diamond rig up there.
All right. So where you are up there at Whaleshark, I mean, has that sort of been an area that's seen a lot of activity in the past, or is it sort of like new pastures, to get out there?
It's pretty new pasture. I mean, I worked on the project back in the mid-90s with Western Mining, with one of my sort of first jobs at Western Mining. And to give a bit of the background to the project, I started in Western Mining in 94, and it was a couple of years after Western Mining unfortunately lost the Ernest Henry deposit in the court case to MIM. So they'd made this great discovery there, and then there was a few things that happened which I don't really want to get into, but basically in Western Mining said, well, where do we go looking for another Ernest Henry? And so they looked at the Capricorn Origin, which is that belt of rocks between the Yilgarn and the Pilbara, and that's a Proterozoic belt, and it's sort of similar age to those rocks that you see at Mount Isa. So they said, oh, well, this looks like an interesting place to look. Now, a lot of that Capricorn Origin outcrops, but as you go towards the coast, it goes under the Carnarvon Basin. So it starts off at sort of, 0 meters deep, and then 50, and then 100. And by the time you get to the coast, that basin can be about 1 kilometre deep. But there's a belt of rocks sort of, near the highway where the depth of the cover is only sort of 100 meters to 200 meters deep. So there was a really strong mag anomaly there that Western Mining drilled, found a granite, found some biff, and it had a bit of gold in it. So, it sort of showed that the right rocks were there, but then they basically dropped the project. So I picked that project up in 2019, and then we, put that into Miramar. And so really there's a gap of about 20 years where no work's been done there. But what we see the same sort of rocks that you see at Ernest Henry. It's got the same sort of scale. When we did the mobile metalline geochem sampling 2 years ago, we got some really nice anomalies that were in copper and gold and silver and moly and rare earths, so things that are associated with IOCG. And then last year when we did the air core drilling, the theory behind that was that because we've only got sort of 50 to 100 metres of cover compared to people working in South Australia where you've got sort of 500 to 800 metres of cover, we thought we could put down some air core holes and see if we could just touch the surface of the Proterozoic rocks, and we did. And we got copper numbers up to 400 ppm copper and 800 ppm cobalt in a granite, which is really unusual. So that gives us a lot of encouragement that we might be onto an iron oxide copper gold system there. The things early this year, we remodeled some of the gravity that we collected, and we've got a couple of nice gravity anomalies that sit within a structure in the neck of the granite. So that's where those 2 diamond holes will go, into those discrete little gravity anomalies.
All right, and moving from Whaleshark for a minute, you also put out an announcement just recently about your Mount Vernon project, where you're also looking at some more targets out there. Can you give us a bit of an update there?
Yeah, so Mount Vernon is one of the tenements that we've got in the Bangamore region. So, we call that the Bangamore project. It's a very large project made up of half a dozen different sort of sub-projects. And why we pick those projects up is it sits again in this Proterozoic Capricorn origin. And that's a key target for craton margin nickel copper PGE mineralisation. So back in 2016, Geoscience Australia did an atlas of Australia looking at nickel deposits, but not the nickel deposits that you see around Kambalda. These are what we call intrusion-related nickel deposits. So things more like Voisey Bay or Norilsk or Nova or Julimar. And these things form on the edges of these Archean cratons, and the Bangamore is part of that sort of craton margin edge. So, and there's a number of these dolerite sills that we see, and they're the same age as the rocks that you see in the West Musgraves. So where, WMC made the discovery at Nebo and Babel in the West Musgraves, we've got very similar rocks. So we've got this project, Mount Vernon. It's a large project. It's about 50 kilometres long. It's got a number of these dolerite sills, which are the same age as the West Musgraves. There's some regional EM anomalies and some regional stream sediment anomalies in nickel, copper and PGEs. And last year we flew an EM survey of the project and got a number of late time EM anomalies that sit along one of these dolerite sills. At the base of that sill, where it has intruded into sediments. And the key important thing about those sediments is they have sulfides in them. And that's a key ingredient of these intrusion-related nickel, copper, PGE deposits, that the dolerite intrudes into something that's got sulfur in it. It picks up the sulfur, and then it can combine the sulfur from the sediments with the nickel that's in the dolerite and create nickel sulfides. So we're really keen to get on the ground there, see what those anomalies might be. And there's a limited amount of historical sampling with nickel results up to 1800 ppm nickel and copper up to sort of 15 and 1800 ppm copper, and elevated PGEs as well. So everything's there at the sort of regional scale. It's sitting at the base of this dolerite sill. Just next to those anomalies are these EM conductors. So all the ingredients are there, and now we're going to try and work out whether we can piece it all together into something exciting.
All right. Well, it sounds like you've got quite a lot of information to tell us up at the Gold Coast Investment Showcase when we catch up, and no doubt delegates at the conference will be able to chase you up too and get some more information on all that news. So looking forward to seeing you there. Thanks for popping in beforehand, Allan. It's great to see you, and we look forward to catching up very soon.
Great, thanks, Wally. Yeah, it'd be good to put the story out a bit more in the Gold Coast.